Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Whiskey Comic Book Roundup. Finally, as you may have noticed in the title, we are not covering this week's comics yet. We will be. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get there. It's been a week, a couple of weeks, I guess, but yeah. So right now we'll be dealing with actually last week's Marvel titles. Well, I should say non-DC titles. We got last week's DC books on time, but last week's non-DC books, the shop I go to didn't get them for until almost a week later. So yeah, but let's get started, shall we? Kicking things off, we've got Excalibur number 25. Where we left off, Merlin was attempting to take over the Otherworld by taking over the crystallized the Citadel. And Excalibur and the Captain Britain Corps were standing in his way. So we got two things going. We've got a bit of a flashback, I think, to Betsy on Krakoa at the Green Lagoon, talking with one of the officers of Sword. This is interspersed with flashes of the battle, but or not Sword, Strike, yeah. But the basic thing is, it's him. This ex of hers, talking about rebuilding Strike on Krakoa, in an effort to, maybe, hopefully, in part at least, to get out to get the anti-mutant faction that has taken hold in England out of power, but also doing the strike stuff they were doing previously. But she explains that while that's a noble goal, she's more concerned with something much more ancient than than Great Britain, which meaning Avalon, Otherworld, and so forth. But the battle is not going well, and we kind of get an idea of what is going on. It seems that Merlin is actually hanging back, letting everyone out and letting all of his soldiers do the fighting for him. It seems he's working a spell. But Arthur informs their ground forces that no, we cannot press the advantage on the Citadel until we've got, until the spell is ready. But Excalibur continues their fight. It's made clear that yes, Shatterstar totally gets along with Bay, which Richter is quite happy about. However, what we find out what it is Merlin is doing. He's using anti-magic on the Citadel. And so Betsy meets Arthur with a sword, but not the armor of Captain Britain. And so her and Arthur duke it out. It does not take long for her to defeat him, though. Telepathy and whatnot. And basically he says, we're going to win. We will defeat you. But they get out of the rain. They get out of things. But but Merlin does take the Citadel, while Jamie tries to make a trench in reality to keep Merlin's forces away from Avalon. Merlin alters reality slightly. Also does some reality alterations, and Betsy and Saturnine vanish, coming to in the Sea of Secrets. And the issue ends with Saturnine offering to tell Betsy the story of how she took the Citadel from Merlin. After all, it just might be useful. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting book. I kind of like the fact of showing the strike personnel. We saw one of them. One of them was a strike previously in Inferno, keeping an eye on one of the various Orcus locations. So I think that was kind of a like setting, kind of a, oh, we probably should have that set up so to say yes, this is a thing that's been going on. So moving on, we've got Hellions number 17. Oh, one other thing I'll say with Excalibur, I am looking forward to hearing Saturday Night's story. Where we left off in Hellions, the team after Sinister's plan to start making chimeras was foiled indirectly by Emma Frost. The team returned to Krakoa, and Psylocke said, as far as she's concerned, the team, there is no team. There never was. And she's pretty ready to leave Krakoa. It's not for Krakoa. Maybe Krakoa isn't for her after all. But also, Orphan Maker's ex, or Nanny's ex, took back the infant AI that she had liberated from the right, and stole her ship. And the issue begins with the Cuckoo's informing Emma that Orphan Maker has followed. And we found out that in the Arizona desert, he's at the Right's base, shooting the place up, trying to get his little brother back. Psylocke's going to take care of this on her own, but Alex insists upon going with her, as does Wildchild and Nanny and Grey Crow. Empath offers to go along, but they don't want him there for obvious reasons. That does not make him happy. There's also a memo to basically say, hey, we need to do everything we can to whitewash what's going on in Arizona with Orphan Maker and the right now. Apparently, the Right's facility in Arizona is not looked upon too not well by the locals, so this could work to Krakoa's advantage. So the Hellions arrive to take care. They're not X-Force, so they can't. No lethal force is not permitted for them. But they do take down the forces they meet outside. Inside, Orphan Maker's making his way through and finds the AI. Nanny also finds them. She chides Orphan Maker. And the AI says its first words: mutant scum, before exploding and seemingly killing Nanny. But this leads to Orphan Maker breaking the first law, and as he slaughters his way through the facility, starting with with Nanny's ex. By the time, as he makes it out of the base, the local law enforcement see him, and when X-Force catches up with him, or when the Hellions catch up with him, they're dead. The sheriff and one of the deputies. Very obviously at Orphan Maker's hands. And so the issue ends with a quote from Nightcrawler. Tragedy comes when trauma does its work in darkness. And that is where the issue ends. So, I haven't brought this up previously, but this is the next to last issue of the series. Um, I've been loving this book. I'm sad. I'm sad to see it coming to an end, and God, I got that's poor orphan maker. Poor kid. Poor Peter. Good next to last issue though. I'm eagerly awaiting and at the same time dreading the next issue, as like I said, it'll be the last one, and I like the book, you know. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood, number 4. I believe this is actually the last issue of the series. So, first off, we've got Cherry by Christopher Yost and Martin Coccolo. Deadpool in his X-Force garb gets hired by AIM. There's something rampaging in one of their bases, built out of a volcano. Turns out to be a pet project of one of their scientists, who the surviving scientists have tied up. He basically made a living Kool-Aid man. A living, totally not Kool-Aid man. Answer the question: is Kool-Aid man the Kool-Aid or the jar? Yes is the answer. But so yeah, the monstrosity comes through, kills some of the scientists. Deadpool gets some background on what's going on and deals with it, and yeah, Cherry totally not Kool-Aid everywhere. Which brings us to the next story. Samurai version by Sanshiro Kasama and Hikaru. I'm probably gonna butcher this. Isugi. Apparently, it's a story from the Deadpool Samurai team, which is published in Japan. But yeah, guy shows up to fight Deadpool. This whole thing, his life has been about becoming good enough to defeat Deadpool. And in fact, he even knows Deadpool's one weakness. Look, it's Spider-Man. Also, he has web shooters. But Sakura Spider shows up to save Deadpool, and stop his enemy, Disposer. And yeah, they do. And Deadpool plugs Samurai Deadpool. Volumes 1 and 2 are on sale now. Finally, we've got Operation Payback by writer-artist Mike Allred, which begins with a nod to the X-Force scene from Deadpool 2, though only one member of the team is actually there. But Duke goes after Deadpool and basically causes him to hallucinate because of something Deadpool did. Well, understand, Duke's language is not a language I don't think it's ever actually been translated. I think they're just kind of random symbols. But it basically, Deadpool pissed off Duke. Duke held a grudge and, well, got back at him. Actually, Deadpool pissed off Duke a few times. But it seems as though amends are at least somewhat made. But yeah, and Duke tells a joke which makes Deadpool laugh, and that is where the story, the issue, and the series end. Solid issue. The Mike Allred story was great. Deadpool, these Black, White, and Blood books have so far all been good. Carnage is a little iffy in spots, but yeah. This is the Wolverine one have been really good, and I would say this and the Wolverine one have been consistently good. Some of the Carnage stories felt a bit of a stretch to me. But anyway, moving on to our next book. We've got Alien, number 8. Where we left off in Alien, 20 years have passed since the first story arc, but on a spinner colony, a ship crashed. A supply ship had crashed, meaning that the colonists were low on supplies, and one of the higher-ups in the colony saw something in the crash. Some kind of creature burst forth from a dead woman's chest. No one believes her, though. Oh, yeah, we're 2 years after the first arc. But, But yeah, the colonists just want, just figure, ship crash, it's not, nothing major happened. But, while that night, 2 of the colonists sneaking off for a rendezvous come upon, look at the ship, and yeah, one of them gets killed by an alien throughout the crash. The other one gets, cocooned. The next morning, the rest of the colonists go to look. They find the body of the dead colonists and start looking for the missing one. And they find the nest with the missing colonists inside. And then the alien shows up and basically says, and the rest of the colonists who were all doubting the administrator who saw the alien were like, well, they kind of have to believe it now. Some of the colonists were killed, everyone runs, and it turns out that one of the other colonial administrators of the colony is an android and is making sure that the alien infestation on the planet goes on unimpeded. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting issue. It'll be. I'm liking the issue, the story, the series, but it feels like it really needs to just either turn itself into a constant string of miniseries, or they need to have a consistent running story where one arc connects to the next. And not just because, there are xenomorphs in this arc and the next arc. There needs to be a little more than that. Otherwise, it's so far a good series, and and each story is interesting to see how it plays out. But anyway, moving on to our last one for the moment, we've got Magic the Gathering number 8, and as per usual, we've got the Hidden Spark variant. This month, as you can tell, it's a red blue. It'll be a red blue planeswalker. Well, actually, not a red blue planeswalker. It'll be 2 planeswalkers, Rowan and Will, if I remember correctly, the twins. So where we left off, the Cult of Merit Lodge had been stopped on Ravnica, and it seemed all was well, except that someone noted that there was a meteor heading towards Ravnica. And it dawned on everyone that it's not just a meteor, it's Merit Lodge. And Jace is having visions of Merit Lodge. Ral Zarek is trying to figure out how to defeat Merit Lodge. And despite the fact that Vraska is confident that Zarek can blow up anything, he's not sure he can blow up the comet with Merit Lodge. Kaya is basically just training herself to deal with it in a very stabby manner. Jace has a waking vision of Merit Lodge and as well as the cult. And however, well, not such a waking vision, but something. One of the cultists comes back as a zombie, but said cultist is destroyed by Tezzeret, who appears before the guild pack because he did stop an attack on the city, so he did kind of save the city. And he knows the secret to defeating Merit Lodge. What does he want for this knowledge? A pardon from the Guild Pact. But they agree, so Tezzeret, Jace, and our three planeswalking guild masters head to Ravnica, or to Theros. But, and Tezzeret is very open with the fact that, yes, he seeks one thing, power. And he kept hearing, in his quest for power, he kept encountering the name Merit Lodge. That was folk, it was a folk tale. But he realized it wasn't. Merit Lodge was a form of power. So, hey, power. He's all for it. Then he realized Merit Lodge is not a power you can control. And so, but it turns out that Tezzeret found Merit Lodge cults in Ixalan, Theros, Kamigawa, Innistrad, which didn't surprise him at all, actually. Which, I mean, come on. Like, there wouldn't be a cult for Merit Lodge there. There's probably a Bolus cult there, too. But turns out that the secret to defeating Merit Lodge is killing Jace. Because Jace surviving was part of Merit Lodge's plan. It was more like the B plan. The A plan was the cultists kill Jace. The death of a powerful psychic gives her a beacon to zero in on. B plan was she plants some psychic roots in Jace's mind to be able to zero in on him. But, yeah, Vraska's not having it. But, yeah, Tezzeret simply says, you know what you have to do. You gotta kill Jace. Or don't let Merit Lodge, win. But, it turns out that Tezzeret may have had a bit of a hand in events. And we'll also be getting looks like a Tezzeret one-shot, or either one-shot or mini-series entitled Master of Metal. But that is where the issue ends. I gotta say, that was interesting. I mean, I still am kind of holding to the idea that Merit Lodge is in fact an Eldrazi. Also, and I feel like an idiot for this, but I do know now for a fact that Merit Lodge is an established part of the Magic the Gathering mythos. In the game, in fact, Merit Lodge exists as part, sort of a legendary land card. There's like this whole there's like a whole quasi-broken strategy, but the basic idea, it's a frozen land, comes into play with so many ice counter tokens on it. You remove counters, you remove the counters in return. When there's 20/20 Merit Lodge creature. Legendary Merit Lodge creature. So I kind of feel like an idiot for not knowing that, but sometimes you pick up bits of information from least expected sources. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.